Hello guys, how we doing? Welcome to the West Ham World Live and Interactive, the daily news and headlines. And where I'll tell you what's about. You can tell me what's about as well if you're live in the chat. A lot's happened again since the last time I did a show. Usually, I don't do a show for a few days and there's not much out there. But, as we're approaching the start of the season, like I say, I'll be back for the preview probably Friday. I'll do the preview for Sunderland. But there's a lot going on. West Ham are very actively looking for a midfielder, something we should have done a bit earlier, in my opinion, so they would have had more time to get into the team. But it looks like probably at least three of our targets that we were linked with, I don't think will happen now. Jacob Ramsey, a player I really, really like. It looks like he's going to Newcastle. £40 million. Good deal, good deal. You can't blame him for picking Newcastle. They're a Champions League team. They're a better project than West Ham. Yes, they may lose Isak, but the amount of money they're going to get for Isak, you would expect that they'll go and buy someone really good and still be really competitive. They've got a fantastic manager there. Plays front foot, attacking football. You can't blame him. If we weren't West Ham fans and we were just, an independent footballer, and you had to leave West Ham, and it was between, Newcastle and someone of West Ham's calibre, you would go to Newcastle, wouldn't you? Of course you would. It's a shame. He's a player I think would have worked well for us, but we move on. Obviously, the big one over the last few days has been Matthias Fernandez. 30 million rejected yesterday. I knew that wouldn't be enough. This is their best player. Southampton want to keep him, so they have put that 50-60 million pound fee on him. I can't blame them. West Ham should do that more often. We probably, with the Caduce, we could have held out probably for another 10 million. If you look at what sort of price wingers are going for, Elangas, and Buemos and people like that, the sort of going price for a Premier League winger who's fairly decent is about 60 million, and we crumbled at 55. And then that also makes you wonder about Paquetá. If Paquetá was to go, whether we'd crumble at about 40 million when Southampton will sit and hold out for 50, 60 for Tyler Diblin and 50, 60 for Matthias Fernandez. I think we'll go in again for Fernandez. I know there is the rumour of they want a £57 million package over the deal. I think the fact that he was on the bench the weekend, I know he came on. I think you could potentially could accept somewhere around 45 with add-ons, potentially. And that's not me being like an arrogant West Ham fan or anything like that. They don't have to sell, but I think he wants to go. I don't think whether he wants to go to West Ham. I think he knows that, if he comes back to the Premier League or a decent club in Europe, he can possibly get into that World Cup squad. I don't think he'll start for the World Cup because their midfield is ridiculous. Fernandez, Silva, Vitina, Neves, they've got some amazing midfielders, Portugal. But he'll want to be there. He'll want to give himself the best chance to be in the squad for that World Cup. Who wouldn't? It's that is a big thing. Would I go more than 45? Not personally. And that's not me saying he's a bad player. It's not me saying he wouldn't fit West Ham. I just think you could probably go and get someone that's probably more ready, should I say? It's a hard thing to say. He's still he's got to be a great player. He is, and he's not quite a finished product yet. And what do West Ham need at the minute? Do we need, for 45 million, you want someone who's going to come in and absolutely transition and transform our midfield and be, one of the best players on the pitch every week. There is a room, obviously, another one that's bit the dust. It looks like Harvey Elliott probably will be going to RB Leipzig. Good club, and he can go there, probably play for a couple of years, come back and be a really good player, which he is. Douglas Luiz still hasn't found a club yet. Apparently wages are an issue for West Ham, but you would feel that Juventus need to get rid of him. He's a player who's sort of made it clear he doesn't want to be there. I don't think Juventus want him there. So could that be a deal later in the window? Buy to let. Buy to let. That's a mortgage, isn't it? Loan to buy. Loan to buy. That's the word I'm looking for. Because I'm looking at new asset a minute. My brain's all over the place. So yeah, Douglas Luiz, I wouldn't be surprised if that one reignites at some point, especially with missing out on targets like Ramsey, like Elliott. There's still links to El Canouse. Leicester still need to sell, I think. I think they're still a little bit in trouble in terms of finances. I like him, but you can see the list is starting to go down and down and down. You know, I'm not saying that El Canouse is a bad player, but it starts with Harvey Elliott, Douglas Luiz, Ramsey, Fernandez. You know, we all know, right? I think we will sign a midfielder. We know clearly now there's 30 million, at least. 30 million is the opening bid. So that means I reckon West Ham have got around 45 to 50 million to buy a player, potentially. So will this be another situation like the John Duran money in January, where it just disappears? And it's like, oh, we don't see that money. But we've definitely got some money. We've got some money and we need to get someone in. I think it's going to be two midfielders. I do think Josh Brown is coming in. It just, not because I think it makes sense, but a midfielder, Sullivan will see it as, I don't want it though. I really don't. The Sterling one, again, wouldn't surprise me if that happens. I don't want it, but it just, this is the way the club make you feel. You know, you get excited, you think, you know, there was all that big push the other day about, oh yeah, Fernandez, West Ham are confident. And then literally a day later, it's difficult negotiations. Of course it is when you bid 30 million for a player that has got a 60 million pound price on his head. You know, you got to be a bit more respectful with the bids if you really are. And what gets me with West Ham is, do we know, when we do like our due diligence with deals, I imagine clubs like, you know, like Arsenal with Declan Rice, there was like a talk with the agent and it's like, yeah, he's going to come. Yeah, he definitely wants to come, put the offer in, Surely there needs to be, there is like a little feeding out period of sort of where the clubs go, yeah, it's around, you know, this figure, like a mortgage, and then you bid down, you meet in the middle somewhere. I don't know. I do expect us to make another bid for Fernandez, though. It seems that the fact that we've made a bid makes it more realistic that he is the top target. We didn't. I don't think we've made a proper bid for Ramsey. Maybe we spoke to him, and it was, you know, sort of went, yeah, he's not too sure on coming to West Ham, and we didn't make that official bid. Elliott, again, haven't made a bid there. All accounts, Douglas Luiz, there's not been nothing official out there in terms of bids, has there, apart from this one. I don't know. Obviously, you still got the Lille guy, Mackay, I think that's how you pronounce it, Mackay. Onyedika hasn't gone away. That keeps coming up. It keeps disappearing, then it keeps coming back, and it seems like it's one of them that the longer it goes on, that it will happen. You know, it'd be one of them like, oh, West Ham signed him now. I don't know. I'm not in the know. Yeah, it's getting frustrating. We need midfield. We need some midfielders. What's this saying? Morning, Luke. I'm not following all the transfer movements. It's a carousel of a ball hang. I can't wait till 3 p.m. Saturday. I can't, but I am nervous, mate. But I'll go into that more on Friday when I do my preview. There is some little bit of positive news, I suppose you'd call it, is Rodriguez is getting linked to Saudi. Any money we could get is a bonus. Potentially gets the big wages off the books as well, which is a good thing. You know, Saudi, the sort of, they might pay 5 million for him, you know, 3 to 5 million, not bad. And it gets the wages off the books. So if that happens, that'd be one that we want to get rid of gone. Irvine is getting some attention up in Scotland. I do expect him to go as well. And then you're sort of still left with Ward-Prowse, Soucek, and out of the ones that we're potentially looking to sell, Alvarez, who knows? Will Alvarez be starting the weekend against Sunderland? I don't know. I'd like one of Soucek or Ward-Prowse to go. Obviously, it's Ward-Prowse that I would more like to go, because Soucek, I think, is going to be important this season. I think we're going to struggle. I don't think we will necessarily go down, but I think we're going to be in a bit of a fight. And I think he's 10 goals or whatever he ends up getting, 8 to 12, could be vital for West Ham's, more secure season. Instead of having a real stressful one, we might actually have a little bit more secure if Soucek's there. I think Bowen gets you goals, Fulkrug will get goals. You'd expect Callum Wilson to at least get 5 goals during the season. Yeah, I'm getting annoyed though. I am starting to get annoyed now with it. I want these midfielders in now. I do. And, there is conflicting views for all the channels, in terms of some think that just because a midfielder comes in, it's not going to change anything. And others think a midfielder comes in and it will be better. I don't know. I'm sort of in the middle, where it's like, and that's not me backing off or anything like that. It's more of I see that a midfielder coming in will definitely, if he's better than Ward-Prowse, it will be more effective. But then I'm also understand the view of the other people that come across as just getting a new midfielder in doesn't really improve much, because we'd still be playing that passive style. There'll still be 3 blockers, which is valid. There's valid points on both parts there. You can't, there's no evidence to say that just because a Douglas Luiz comes in or Matheus Fernandez comes in, that all of a sudden Potter gives someone like Paquetá free rein to, do what Payet used to do, be free roam and pass the ball about and be elegant. So seeing is believing. And at the moment, there's nothing there that gives me that belief that even if you bought in prime Pirlo, Zidane and Edgar Davids, that West Ham under Potter would play a different way. But listen, I want to be proved wrong. I want West Ham to do the best they can. I want Potter to succeed, because that means West Ham succeed. We'll wait and see. I'm going to leave it there, guys. That's just a little mini update from me. I'll be back Friday, unless we sign anyone or get a bid accepted. I'll be back Friday with a preview for Sunderland. I'm half looking forward to it. I've missed football. I've been very bored. That's the only problem with the 6 weeks holidays. I love being off and spending time with the family and doing things. But the weekends are dull without football. And I'm looking forward to it. It's some bloody good games this weekend as well. Obviously, Man United, Arsenal, us and Sunderland. Big game Friday. Is it Liverpool, Bournemouth? Tottenham got a really big game as well. There's some really, really, really good games this weekend as well. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Enjoy your day. Keep your suntan lotion on. Keep yourself nice and hydrated in this weather. Come on, you irons. Keep believing. Let's go.